Hi, I'm Dave, and I've been doing a series of videos on my 25-year career doing federal law enforcement, dealing with federal natural resource, fish and wildlife laws, environmental laws. And this is my series on doing on Los Angeles. I spent 5 years stationed in the Long Beach, originally the regional office, then it became a field office. And I covered the greater Los Angeles, Southern California area. So at this time, we have three agents, one up in Santa Maria, me in Los Angeles, and one in San Diego. So first I want to talk about is um, I tried to set up a nighttime operation near Santa Barbara Island with the U.S. Coast Guard, and we knew that the squid fleet would go out there, and they had a history of shooting marine mammals that got into the bait balls. And I already discussed the one case I made. So I was going to try to go out there with the Coast Guard. They were going to, the 86 footer, the halibut, was going to park on the backside of the island. It's like 40, 50 acre island, but it's huge. It's like it goes straight up and it's 100 feet tall with this 40-acre top, like a butte sort of. And then we would get on the rigid hull inflatable and try to sneak up on the fishermen and do some surveillance. Well, we get almost there, I mean, really close, and we get diverted. A ponga boat, which is a small motorized boat with 25 illegal aliens, was heading north. And at that time, we were the closest. And so the helicopters called us in, and we started in on the chase. And we followed it for some time, and another motor lifeboat, a smaller boat, made the actual intercept up near Santa Rosa Island, again, the Channel Islands National Park. And they took the 25 illegal aliens on board their boat, and then they left the Ponga boat with a blinker on it, a light that would blink so we could find it. So we pulled up, and then we would tow that back to Channel Islands Harbor. But all night long chasing this Ponga boat, we didn't do any NOAA type enforcement, and so it was exciting. And I've been on Coast Guard patrols down in Southern California already, and this is my second time. And it's cool being out with the Coast Guard, but there's just at that time there's so many Ponga boats with drugs and illegals that it's almost impossible to do that kind of work doing marine fisheries and marine mammal issues because it's all going to turn into a drug or immigration chase. One thing that was cool there was while we're chasing after the Ponga boat, I remember looking over the side and seeing these big white glowing balls coming off the ocean. And so that area's got that bioluminescence in the water, the organisms. And that night it was clear and just, it was like the ocean, the foam was glowing in the dark. Just very cool. Good crew, I mean, very professional. And then something within a few weeks of my patrol with them, something horrible happened. And the same boat, the halibut, chasing after a Ponga boat, drug runners. Um, while they were trying to do a boarding, the Ponga boat turned around, crashed into the rigid hull inflatable, and then turned around again and ran over uh, the crew members. And the one crew member pushed another one aside, and he took the brunt and died. Um, Terrell Horn, and I had worked with him when I did the patrol with him, just a go getter, professional. This was just, it angers you. This was the third person in my career I know that has died in the line of duty. We do a dangerous job. And Terrell Horn was a good guy. I went to the memorial service, Terminal Island, and it was not a, it was a tearjerker. Um, his little boy, saluting the helicopters flying over. It was hard not to cry for that. But it's it's like at that time it was like a war zone off the coast of California, just endless um, drug runners and human smuggling, and at the memorial, actually, I'm sitting next to the director of Homeland Security, Napatano, I think her name was the lady who was she was in charge, Secretary of Homeland Security. I sat right next to her. I'm disgusted by her. I have nothing kind to say about this lady or the Obama administration. But here in the memorial service, when it was her time to give a talk, she's talking about, this brave man. Because of him, our borders are safer now than they've ever been before. What a crock of bullshit. It was dangerous off the coast of California. And I don't know, I'm not in the loop now. I don't know what's going on now, but it was dangerous. And this is an example of it. These are not good people. And the reason why they all head up the coast past LA and the Channel Islands and they cut in, there's a town north of Santa Barbara called Goleta. And so Highway 101 runs right along the coast um, before cutting inland. And so, vans would pull off the road. They'd run the ponga boat up on the beach. Everyone would run up to the highway, get in the van, and they take off. And that was whether it was drugs, whether it was human smuggling. Um, that's the way things were going then. So the next thing was I got a call from NCIS, Naval Criminal Investigative Service. There's an island called San Nicolas Island. It's a top secret military base, and it has endangered black abalones out there. And again, a ponga boat from Mexico, Ensenada, running marijuana, flips over. They crash on the edge of the island, and so they're living on the island for like 3 days, eating this endangered black abalone. So NCIS is like, I don't know, would you be interested in coming out here? Someone gave me your name and number, said give Dave a call, and I said, yeah, I'd like to go out there and document it. I said, I'd like to make a case on this, but they've got $2 million worth of dope they got caught with. I got a feeling they're only going to run with that, but I'd like to I'd like to get out there and at least collect the shells and see how much damage they did. So I went to Point Mugu Naval Air Station and got on a twin engine turboprop. And remember, I was the last one on board. All these guys in the waiting room at the Navy base, tie-dye shirts, dreadlocks, beards, they got headsets, they're listening to music, all on laptops, flip-flops. They get on the plane, and I'm thinking, what the hell is this about? And then the pilot comes out, makes me lock my gun up there at the base, and says, I'm going to show you where to sit. You cannot speak to anyone, talk to anyone. If they ask you any questions, do not reply. We got a window seat for you. Enjoy the flight. It's going to take maybe 45 minutes to an hour. It's going to be nice. It's clear skies, you know, and welcome to Point Mugu. And he walks me out, says, you're going to sit in this seat here. So I sit down, and plane takes off, and I'm looking out the window, but I'm just looking around, and everyone's on their computers and listening to their with Grateful Dead shirts, and like, this is weird. But we land at San Nicolas Island. It's got a plateau and a runway on the top, and there's like one building, I think. And I'm like, this is kind of weird. And the plane lands, and everybody gets off. I was told to stay to the last moment. Everybody gets off, and I can't see over the front end of the plane where they're going. And then they say, okay, you can come out now. And I walk off the plane, and a biologist and an archaeologist with the Navy come out and introduce themselves. They had two gators, these like, off road vehicles. And they said, come on in. And I said, who are these like hippie guys I was with? And they're like, oh, they're rocket scientists. And I'm looking around like, there's like 20 of them. They just vanished. And the biologists are like, yeah, they're in Disney World now. He goes, there's nothing up top. They're down below. They'll stay here for a month or two. And I'm like, wow, oh, everything's underground. So, but they put me on the gator, and then we drove through this what's called a coropolis forest, these mini trees, and there's these little tiny foxes, island foxes, running around, scurrying around. You'd see them; they're endangered. Um, this is a desert island, and then as we got to the backside, we took a road that went down, and then it reminds me of Badlands from the South Dakota area. Just rock formations, erosion, canyons. We get out and we had to walk like almost a mile to the site because there were no roads, and you're climbing through these this weird rugged erosion area. Some of the beaches had, hundreds and hundreds of elephant seals, very loud. And we get to the campsite, and I take pictures, document things, and get it GPSed. And I had bags, pull out my backpack. It was like a broken flip flop that was brand fairly new, cigarette butts. There was a campfire, and they had eaten like 6 or 7 black abalones, endangered species. So I collected the shells, put that in there, and put it back in the backpack. And then they showed me a few other sites in the area where there were archaeological sites, prehistoric sites from Native Americans, dating back thousands of years. And they explained to me they have an archaeologist now because so it was a bombing range for a long time. So Marine pilots like in Harriers would bomb the island. And one time they bombed a site, they put a tank and they bombed it. Well, in the crater they found afterwards bones, human bones, and they're like, "Uh-oh, yeah, that's not good." And so they brought in a full time archaeologist now that monitors the sites out there because it's burial sites everywhere on this island. But it was amazing to be out there. I didn't see anything secret because everything's down below. But they took me back up. It was an all day, adventure. I would later talk to the U.S. Attorney's Office, and they were like, "These guys are eating endangered black abalones. They're like really rare." And they said, "No, we really don't need that case because we already got the $2 million worth of dope. They're going to be doing a lot of time behind bars, legal entry, dope, and trespass on a U.S. Navy installation." So they didn't want to tack on the ESA um, aspect of it. But in either case, I got to go out to a very unique area that most people will never be allowed to go to. Another case I made, and I got a notes here that I'm reading from, because just so much. LA is a crazy place, and there's just so much going on. And I'm going to be doing a couple of these videos, I think. I would scan YouTube, and there was a guy in Southern California, and he's got videos of him interacting. He's a diver, and he interacts with marine life. He likes to spook it and make things scurry away so he could film it or do selfies and stuff. And he's got one where there's this whale. He's going down, and you see the tail of the whale, and he grabs it, and then the whale, the tail goes like that. He's bubbles, and you could see him like getting flailed back through the water, and the whale takes off. And then he comes up, and this is interesting. He comes up, and with he's got like a GoPro, and you see the coast, a beautiful home with steps coming down, and then he turns around for a second, and you see like a tour boat, and I'm like, I that looks familiar because I had had a case down in Orange County near Laguna Beach, and I was like, I think I know that place, and I was able to. So I captured that video, and I could freeze it. I could see, I believe the style of boat. I was like, I know that boat. I think it's out of Dana Point. It's a whale watching boat, and so I create an undercover account, and I start contacting this guy. Hey, you know what? I'm a realtor agent, Southern California. I want to do some videos like for advertisement, and I see all your amazing videos of you underwater. Maybe we could collaborate, and you can help me out because I would love to have that saying, "Hey, look at all the marine life off the coast of Southern California." So I BS him, and he replies back, "Yeah, that'd be great." I said, "So tell me about this whale. That's crazy. What's this deal with the whale?" And he sends me back, a very long message on YouTube, and I gave him my email, and he's like, "Hey, this gray whale's resting off Laguna Beach." I'm like, "Bingo." And he goes, "I swim down there," and I was just like, I had to touch it. I touched a whale, and it was amazing. And he's going on in details how he did this. And I'm like, that's wicked cool, man. That's wicked cool. Yeah, definitely. Maybe we can hook up sometime. Like, I'm planning on going out to, I'm gonna be down touring different areas. He's like, well, I'm out in Catalina. I do videography for like a summer camp, and I'm like, well, shit, I'm going out there too soon, and can we hook up? And I'd like to meet with you. And he goes, yeah, let's do it. And so we planned this for like a week or two in advance, and I got the okay from the boss. So I was like, this guy's messing with wildlife to get good videos. This is not a good thing. We got to stop this. So I go and take a ferry boat. It's a catamaran, the Catalina Express. You leave San Pedro, and then you head out to Catalina. And I had called in advance. The sheriff's department has two deputies out there, and one of the deputies, great guy, his name's Bruce. He was a big help. And I talked to him, and I said, "This is what I got. I got to interview this guy. It'd be nice to have some backup. I don't know my way around, and I won't have a vehicle." And so the Los Angeles County Sheriff Department deputy, his name's Bruce. He's like, "Hey, no sweat. This is cool. I'd like to work with you." He goes, "I'm deputized to do fish and game work out on the island, so I do a lot of wildlife enforcement out here." And so I get to the island, and the isthmus, it's called, like the narrow point of the island. There's a little community there, and he's got a 4-wheel drive pickup truck. So I jump in with him, and we drive out maybe 6 or 7 miles all the way to like the east end of the island, I think it is. And we get to this camp, and I walk in there and talk to the guy, and the deputy kind of hangs back, and hey, again, so I want to hear from you. Tell me about the whale, and he's like talking to me, and I said, wait a second, I have somebody here that I want to bring up, and I go like this, and the deputy shows up, and he's like, and I said, I'm a federal agent, special agent, and I tell him my name with NOAA National Marine Fisheries Service, and you touching that whale, it's not cool, it's illegal, you can't do that. And you deliberately, knowingly harassed a marine mammal. You knew it was wrong. You videotaped it, and now you're getting likes, and you'll get money because thousands of people are watching your video of you interacting with this whale. And so I said, do you have any other? Do you have videos of other interactions? Do you have marine mammal parts with you? He goes, I got some other stuff I collected. Okay, what else do you have? Well, it turns out he had some sea lion bones and feathers and things like that he collected. So he abandoned those to me. But I got a good interview out of him. At first he got a little mouthy, and the deputy I was with, he's hardcore. He'd worked before he got to go to Catalina, which is a choice location for a deputy sheriff. He had worked East LA. So he'd done his time doing some hardcore police work in the greater Los Angeles area. There's certain cities that are unincorporated. So sheriff deputies do the patrolling, not LAPD. Compton being one, but over in East LA, there's several areas too. So that's where he had worked before heading out to Santa Catalina Island, which is beautiful. Avalon is the big city there, and it's just gorgeous. Bald eagles, and there's bison. There's a herd of bison out there. But I make this case, um, not a huge fine, but I think it's an important one because so many people are influenced by what they're seeing on YouTube that they want to do it. And he's been harassing marine life, all kinds, from rays to playing with crabs and lobsters to fish, poking things, octopus. and of course the whale incident. And so that was a civil case. I think it was only $2,000. He didn't pay it. He blew it off. And so this is one of those instances where the Internal Revenue Service actually got his federal tax return and took out 2,000 and said, "We're taking it, and here you go, Noah. Here's your fine." And so, and I felt good about this case because this guy he's a punk. Just he harassed this whale. It was a gray whale. It was resting. And when I did the case, by the way, remember I told you, I figured out where it was. It's called 1,000 Steps down in Laguna Beach. And I said there was a tour boat. And the design of the tour boat looked like one out of Dana Point. Part of what I did was I met with the tour boat captain. And he said, yes. He goes, we've got video of this guy, this idiot. And so they actually have video they gave me from the tour boat of this guy harassing a gray whale in Laguna Beach. It's him. And it's like, bingo. These are the kind of cases where you just put everything together and you're like, damn, this is like the stars are aligned. They've got video of him going under, the whale come breaching out of the water. He pops up. Yeah, I got it. And it's like, they were ticked off because the tour boats watching this whale rest at the bottom. So whales can drop down and rest in shallow areas for 10, 15 minutes and then come back up for air. And so this whale was resting. I kind of think the fine should have been higher. I wanted to go criminal on this one, but this is a strange time for NOAA, and it was like you couldn't make a criminal case without approval from the civil attorney. Civil attorney had to get approval from Washington, D.C., which just BS. If anybody from NOAA management's watching this now, if you still do it that way, and it's just absolutely BS. Let the agents decide, hey, I want to take this criminal. Let them talk to the U.S. Attorney's Office, right? And if we had criminal tickets at that point, they had taken them away by this point. This would have been a good criminal ticket at the very least, you know. $500 misdemeanor offense. I'm okay with that. Be a misdemeanor offense. But this whole I have to ask permission with civil attorney, he has to, and it takes a month to ask permission from the national office whether an agent can make a criminal case. Just BS. And it was wrong. Other agencies that I worked with was Customs and Border Protection. I got to do a detail on their Go Fast boats down in San Diego Harbor. So we were checking any boats, like fishing boats that were coming in that had been possibly down in Mexico, because it's right on the Mexican border, and a lot of American fishermen will go across the border to fish. And so any boat coming across, I was checking for fish and shellfish. This one boat came in, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I was just pleasure cruising, going down near Coronado Islands and all." And so me and a CBP officer bring him back to the docks, and we jump off and we get on his boat, and we're searching it. So I don't see any fish and wildlife, but me and the CBP, uh, we also brought in a canine, and the canine does a hit, and we pull back this carpeted area, and there was a secret compartment. So I didn't know, but there's a federal maritime law that says if you have a hidden compartment on a boat, the government can seize your boat. And it was like, holy cow, we seized this guy's boat. It's like you've got a hidden compartment, and a canine unit got a hit on it, even though there's no drugs on it. They could smell there was residue in there. Guess what? You're losing your nice, beautiful boat. It belongs to the government now. This guy was irate, and they was like, unless you want to go to jail, take a hike. You can leave. And they got his information. They let him go, but they hooked the boat up and took it back to like a impound area. These go fast boats were beyond fast. Four outboard motors. I don't know what kind of motors. Long, skinny. They had shotgun racks up on the top. And the one I was on, just the night before, they're like, "Hey man, too bad you weren't here last night." I go, "What?" "Oh, we had a ponga boat running with like 2 dozen illegals on it. And what they do is they pull it up, they pull their speedboat up behind the ponga boat, and the guy's got frangible shells in the shotgun, and he shoots the engines out. And he shot the engines out of the ponga boat, and then they placed him under arrest. And they're like every night in San Diego, these guys are in high speed chases, and I tell you what, I don't know of anything that's going to outrun those CBP boats. They are fast. I mean, just you have these big seats that come up like this, and they kind of curve in. You know, it's almost like something you'd see in a race car. You sit back, and there were seat belts, and when he punched it, would be like, that boat would take off. I mean, amazing. And it was really cool to work with them and to be a part of, seizing a boat. Um, got 5 more minutes. Being in LA, you assist a lot of people whose cases end in LA. And the East Coast came out. They had a case that started back east, but down in Huntington Beach is where the office was of this importer for seafood. And so I do the surveillance with them, and I go in there and do the search warrant, do the raid, and you know, at the end of the night, they're like, "Hey, Dave, we're tired. We're just going to give you all our stuff, and you can put it in your office, okay? And then you can ship it out to us." And I said, "Okay, because I was helping going through some of the other files on the other side of the office." I said, "Great. So I'm going to need an inventory sheet, evidence logs." And they're like, "Well, we'll do that later, when we get back. We'll just go through it, we'll make one up." And I said, "No." And they go, "What do you mean? Come on, Dave, we're tired. We got to fly out tomorrow morning." I said, "I don't care. This is your case, but when it goes into my office, then we play by the rules. I am not going to take anything and put it in my office, evidence, without inventory and evidence sheets that match the evidence tags. It's not going to happen. You can talk to my boss if you got a problem with that. I'm not doing it. Why do you have to be this way? You're going to make us stay up all night and do this. I don't care how long it takes. That's your problem. This is your case. But you're not putting it in my office unless everything's legit." And it took another hour and a half or 2 hours, and they were pissed at me. I mean, here I am, I'm helping them, and they're acting like jerks. Finally, when I got the evidence log, the inventory sheets, we put it in my office. The next day was like Friday, and I mail it out. They fly back east. Okay. I mail all these big boxes out to them. I did a lot of work for them. And, but what's interesting is the next week, about midway, Thursday or so, I get a call from the supervisory agent. He said, "I want to thank you. You saved our asses. When we got back, when the evidence came in, they did a surprise. The national office did a surprise um, inspection of the evidence, of our paperwork, and everything was in order. Literally, the day the evidence came in, they were there. We had the inventory sheet, we had the evidence log, and that wouldn't have been done if we had done what we were planning on doing. You forced us to do things the right way, and it paid off." I said, "You're welcome." I said, "I'm not trying to be difficult, and if you guys were mad at me, it's like, you see why I did what I did." I said, "I got a boss that would chew my ass off if I put evidence in my office, locked it up, and paperwork wasn't done right. I answered to someone, so." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You did good." Well, this is I didn't get to everything I wanted to, but almost. Like I said, a lot of stuff happened in LA, and it was just there's a lot of craziness, and I'll do videos from time to time uh, until I'm finished with describing my time in Los Angeles. I have some big cases up ahead that I'm going to discuss in the near future. Again, thank you for listening to me. And what I'm saying, some people are like, "Really? Did all this happen?" Hey, I say, you know what? You can always do a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, which is, and you can ask NOAA, National Marine Fisheries Office of Law Enforcement, to do a FOIA of case reports, incident reports, It's all there. I don't know how long they keep it anymore. It used to be 10 years, but it's there if you ever want to read about it. This would have been the Long Beach field office between 2011 and 2016. I retired in May of 16. But I've got more videos to do, and I hope you enjoy. Please hit like and subscribe and comment. If you got any questions, just let me know. Thanks again, and you'll be hearing more from me.